Hi guys, today we will discuss a knowledge-based part of section B question of AA. So before doing that, let's read the question. So it is 1st July 20x5. Hercules and Company has recently won the audit of a new client, Knight Electronics Company, for the year ended 30th September 20x5. Knight Company sells products enabling smart building systems which allow customers to efficiently control their security, lighting, and network needs. The audit manager held a preliminary meeting with the finance director and has provided you with the following notes. So there are planning meeting notes, as I recommended you guys earlier that you should read the whole question without stopping anywhere in one go. And then when you read the requirement, then you can refer back to the question again. So since its launch 5 years ago, Knight Company has experienced high levels of growth such that the founder and CEO, William Knight, is considering a stock exchange listing next year. Okay. Knight Electronics Company has both corporate and domestic customers. On 1st October 2004, Knight Electronics Company began to offer customers the option to purchase a 3-year servicing agreement. This provides 3 annual services for products purchased. Customers pay for the servicing agreement in full at the start of the agreement. All right. Component parts are purchased from a number of suppliers. Prices of components have been steadily increasing over the past 2 years, leading to a reduction in the gross profit margin. The forecast financial statements for the year ending 30th September 20x5 shows inventory valued at cost. Okay. In June 20x5, Knight Company decided to revalue its premises, which had previously been accounted for using the historic cost model. Properties with a carrying amount under the cost model of 3.8 million were revalued to 8.4 million based on a valuation performed by the management. The finance director also carried out an extensive review of non-current asset lives and decided to extend the useful life of plant and equipment from 5 years to 8 years. In May 20x5, defective equipment used by Knight Electronics Company resulted in a small fire at its premises. The company has commenced legal action against the supplier of the equipment. Knight Electronic Company's lawyers have advised that the legal action is likely to be successful, and as a result, the finance director has included a receivable for the damages likely to be received from the supplier in the forecast financial statements. All right. An instance of payroll fraud was also discovered during the year. A payroll clerk had set up a number of fictitious employees, and the wages were then paid into the clerk's own bank account. Controls have now been implemented to prevent this from reoccurring, and the clerk involved no longer works for the company. Okay. However, the audit manager is concerned that additional fraud may have been taken place in the payroll department prior to the controls being implemented. William Knight would like the audit to be completed by 31st October 20x5. So it seems that the scenario of the question, according to the scenario of the question, examiner will ask you to identify audit risk and explain the auditor's response. But today our target is to learn that how should we solve if there is a technical knowledge-based question, okay, related to the scenario of the case study. So the first requirement you can see on the screen is briefly explain. So you have to explain how each of the following sources of information will be used by Hercules and Company to gain an understanding of Knight Electronics Company at the planning stage of the audit. As you guys see that on the planning stage of audit, understanding about the client is very important, right? So basically, a table is given and different sources of information are also given, and you have to tell that how these sources of information can be used to gain more understanding about the client. Okay, so this is purely a knowledge based question, and the statement of the first task is just like an opening statement, guys. Okay. Also, when you see knowledge based requirements, it's important to identify whether an understanding of the scenario is required to attempt the question or not. Where the knowledge requirement is not linked to the scenario, a note is included confirming this. Okay, some knowledge based questions basically include pre-populated table just like this. You are seeing here. Okay, and candidates are required to provide an explanation or description of the phrase or term included in the table. Okay, so this is basically a 5 mark knowledge requirement. So candidates should aim to provide a well explained point for each of the 5 terms included within the table, right? So it's important to understand what the aim of the table is. In this case, 5 sources of information were available to the auditor, right, to use in gaining an understanding about the client, about the new client, which is Knight Electronics Company. So candidates were asked for explaining how each piece of information could be used to achieve the aim of gaining an understanding of the new audit client. So when attempting this requirement, guys, you should consider each source of information. Okay, so you have to consider 2 very important attributes of each source of information, which is what they are and what information is available within them. So what is the source of information? So answering 2 things about every piece of information, that what is the source of information and basically what information is available from this source. Okay, what information does it provide that could be used by the auditor at the understanding phase. Then consider how this information could be used by the auditor. If you don't consider both of these attributes, that what is the information and how the auditor can use the information, okay, so there are 2 attributes that we have to consider here, that what is the information itself and how the auditor can use this information to gain the understanding about the client. Okay, without considering both of these, uh, it is difficult to achieve, 1 mark per point. Okay, so considering how each of the sources of information differ will also make sure that there is no too much repetition of answer points. Okay, so let's do the first one, the prior year audited financial statement. So if we read prior year audited financial statements of a new client, Knight Electronics Company, so auditors, what will auditors get? Auditors will gain an understanding about the company's position and performance. And this will help them to undertake, initial analytical review, okay, preliminary analytical review. Then current year budgets and management accounts will provide information for from the point of view that whether the company is going concern or not, and about the risk identification, what risk does it face, or it will help in more analysis of the company. It means you can use the word, it will help the auditors doing analytical review. Okay, then in the third one, many candidates make a big mistake, which is prior year report to management. Guys, this is prior year report to management. This is not about audit report, okay? This is about the report to management. So many candidates confused the prior year report to management with the prior year audit report, and they explained that they were looking for modifications to opinion, whether the previous auditors had modified their opinion or not. No mark will be awarded for that. Okay, you should remember. So basically you should write that it can provide information on internal control deficiencies. It will highlight internal control deficiencies noted last year. And if these have not been rectified by the management, then they could arise it in the they could also arise in the current year audit as well, and may impact the auditor's audit approach, right? So this is the correct way that you can explain this point. Okay, so what is the piece of information itself and how is it helping the auditor in the current year audit? Then a review of board minutes will provide an overview of key issues which have arisen during the year. Okay, and the very important next part is the auditors will be well informed about how those charged with governance have had addressed them. Okay, so this is a very understanding point, that you have to explain that auditors will get an understanding about the key issues that arose last year or in the current year, and they will be able to identify that how those charged with governance have dealt with them, okay, have addressed them. Then the last one is company's website. The company's website will be used to review press releases, current press releases, and what is the background on Knight Electronics company's products and services. And this is really it. If you write every piece, every important piece of information that I am saying to you, you'll get 1 mark per source of information. That's it, guys. We'll do the second part, which is B part, about the very important section of AA on audit risk. We'll solve the next part in the next video. Thank you so much.